Alright, well, this is the intro to AutoCAD. The first thing you need to do is find the AutoCAD 2011 English login. There's one that is also a mechanical AutoCAD. That one you do not want to use. So when you go ahead and load into the AutoCAD, it'll take a second for it to load up. And the very first time you do it, it'll take a little longer than what it's taken for mine, just as so you realize that. Normally what pops up right away is, okay, this welcome screen window, this welcome screen. You will also have one, okay, it is coming up for me as well. We're exiting out of both of these screens. So I'm going to hit the X here, and I'm going to hit the X here. So now we are at the regular AutoCAD command. Maybe. Alright, there we go. In the upper left hand corner here, we have the draw box and the modify box. Those two boxes is what you will be using about 85–90% of the time in here. In the upper left hand corner, there's this red A. When I click down on it, this is where I will be saving and opening my drawings at. If you go to save as, you will want to make sure that you go to my documents when you start to save. So my documents. Do not save to the desktop. I will erase anything off of there. And then finally down here at the very bottom of the screen, we've got something that's called the command prompt. And this command prompt will allow you to know where you're at in any type of command that you are in. So that's why it's called the command prompt. The first thing I'm going to show you is how to draw a line. And when I come up here, I'm going to hit the line button and the draw button. My cursor says specify the first point. Basically that means where do you want to start that line from. So I'm going to left click anywhere on the screen. Left click, left click, left click, left click, left click. And then when I want to get out of the command, I can do one of three things. I can hit escape on my keyboard, I can hit enter on my keyboard, or I can right click my mouse and go to enter. That takes you out of the command that you are in. If you want to erase a line, you just come over here and you left click on the line. It gives you those three blue grippers, and now at this point what you can do is hit delete on your keyboard and that will erase it. You can select the line there and you can come up to the modify box and hit erase, or you can, I'm going to make a big box around mine, and I can right click my mouse or erase. All those will work. Now if I want to draw a line at a specific distance, I'm going to click on the line tool again, and when I click on it, I can move my mouse to the right and I can type in a specific distance of, like you can see my mouse, it says 12.3769. Well, I'm going to type in just 12 in the keyboard, enter. Now I just made that line 12 inches. Now if I want to go 6 inches, I can go 6, enter. I can go 5, enter. I can go 3, enter. So whatever distance you type in, it will also allow you to do a line at a specific distance. I'm going to select everything here. Right click erase. Now when I draw a line, sometimes I want it to be at a specific angle, or I want it to be straight. You know how our T-square allows us to draw straight left to right lines. Well, down here at the bottom of the page there is a button called ortho. It says ortho mode. When you select it down here, ortho mode is the Greek word for straight. So when I choose left click on it, wherever I have my mouse, it is drawing me a straight line. I like to say it's kind of like the snake games that some of you play on your phones, to where no matter where you go, it's going to give you an exact straight line. And there's plenty of reasons why you would want to be able to draw just straight lines. It would speed you up if you're drawing like squares and stuff. So I'm going to right click enter, then I'm going to select everything and I'm going to draw a box. Right click erase. So actually I'm going to go ahead and do a diamond. What I'm going to do is I want to draw a line at a specific angle. So if I left click to start my line, notice how the ortho mode is still on. I'm going to come down and turn the ortho mode off. Now I can go at a specific angle. You'll see that it says 42, 45, 45, 51, whatever it might show there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hold the shift button down and I'm going to hit the comma button. I'm going to hold the shift button down, hit comma, and you can see that it will give me the angle of, or that greater than or less than sign. Well, I'm going to type 45, enter. Now what that just did is it basically put an ortho of a 45-degree angle line there. So no matter where I put my mouse, it will go at a 45-degree angle. I'm going to go 8, enter. Now this time I'm going to do another shift comma. And again, sometimes you got to keep hitting it because it doesn't show up the first time. I'm going to go negative 45. And now I'm coming down that direction. I'm going to go shift comma, 45, enter. Oop, now see, that time I didn't pay attention. And what happened there was the angle of sign did not come on, so it actually just drew a line that was 45 inches long. So I'm going to right click and undo that. I'm going to go shift comma again, make sure it comes up. See, it did not come up on that time. Shift comma. There it came up. I'll go 45, enter. And I'll go 8, enter. And then I can just connect it up here. So now I have a diamond. I think you've noticed here and there that I've got these little green boxes and stuff on there. If I go down to the bottom of the screen, there's also a box called Object Snap. In that Object Snap, I'm going to right click my mouse. And these are all the types of snaps that can be. You never guess in AutoCAD. You're going to go to an exact endpoint, an exact midpoint, an exact center point. I would make sure at this point in time, make sure that your center point and your quadrant button are on. And how do you make sure that they're on? By clicking on them. So I'm going to click on this one, it shoots it down, so I got to come back down and right click on it again. Notice now the quadrant button is not depressed or blue, so I'm going to left click on it now that I know it's on. What this does is when I draw the line here, I'm going to go from an exact endpoint. See how it gives me that green box? I'm not guessing. There's never a time to guess in AutoCAD. So I'm going to left click there. Then it's going to take me to the exact midpoint there. So that triangle comes on midpoint, 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 midpoint. So everything is exact in AutoCAD. You never guess. So at this point, I've really showed you how to draw a line, how to draw a line at a specific distance, how to draw a line at a specific angle, how to erase those lines. I'm going to come up here to my circle command now. I'm going to hit the circle button. There are two things you need to know in order to draw a circle: what that center point of the circle is and how big that circle is. So if you read my mouse, it says specify the center point of the circle. Basically, you can left click anywhere on the screen. When I left click, I can start drawing it out. It asked me what is the radius of the circle. Well, if I knew the radius of the circle, I would just type in the distance. But right now, let's say I know the diameter of the circle, so I'm going to hit D, enter on my keyboard. Now it says specify the diameter of the circle. Well, now I'll type in like 5, enter, or so, whatever. So the biggest key there is when you hit the circle button, that you left click wherever you left click for the center point at, and when you pull it down, are you in a radius or a diameter? If you're in a diameter, you have to hit D, enter, and then that diameter thing will come up. Now if I want to draw a circle inside of a circle, and actually I don't think I've talked about this yet, the zoom yet, I'm going to roll my middle mouse button. The roller mouse button, that will allow me to zoom in and zoom out on whatever I'm looking at. If I hold that roller button down at my hand, the cursor turns into a hand, and now I can move it around left to right however I want to. So I'm going to hit the circle button here. I am not clicking anything. I am moving my mouse over the top of this circle. Notice how it automatically gives me a quadrant and it automatically gives me a center point. So I am not ever guessing whenever I try to find a center point or a quadrant of a circle. It gives me an exact. Now I've came around before and we've done some things on board, and when we've done them on board, I've guessed a lot, and I say that's close enough. Well, in AutoCAD, I'm never going to guess. I'm going to have you draw something like such. I'm just going to have you draw like a box, and I'm going to draw another box, a circle. I'm going to draw another circle down here, and then I'm going to draw a line from the top quadrant to like the top quadrant here. And then I'm going to draw a line from like maybe this left quadrant to the bottom quadrant here. Now at this point, whenever we've erased something, we've erased an entire line. Well, if this, let's say like right now in this area up here, I only want to erase like this part of my line. So I can left click on that line, those blue grippers come up on there again. I can left click on that blue gripper and I can drag it back to where I want it to be at. To that intersection, left click, and that just erased, or should I say trimmed, part of that line. If I right click and hit deselect all or hit escape on my keyboard, that'll take that away. Again, I want to select this and bring maybe that blue box. I'm going to left click on the blue box. I'm going to trim it back to here. So that allows me to erase a line, not an entire line. Now the last thing I'm going to talk about is the trim command. And the trim command will allow, like right now if I select my circle, it will, the whole circle is selected, and if I left click on any of those blue grippers, all it's going to do is make the circle bigger or smaller. So I need to erase part of this circle. So I'm going to hit the trim command, which is up here in the modify box, and this big old thing pops down. When I hit the trim command, it says select the objects. Well, I'm going to select everything on the screen. My mouse says select object still. There's nothing else to select, so I'm going to right click my mouse, or I could hit enter on the keyboard. Right click. Now it says select the object to trim. Well, now I'm going to select what I don't want. And that would erase part of something, not the entire thing. So trim and erase are the two things that we used up here, and we talked about line and circle in this window box. At this point, maybe try to go on to figure 390 and see how you do.